This is a clip that I really hate you. I'm not saying that. That's the Twitter handle. I really hate you tweeted this out, and it's of Israeli Minister of Education Yoav Kisch of the Likud party, and he's talking on the the Netanyahu affiliated channel 14. Let's take a listen.
אין שום הבדל בין חיזבאללה ללבנון. לבנון תושמד לאור כמו שהדברים מתקדמים. ואני אומר את זה אפילו עכשיו בצורה מאוד בוטה. אנחנו באירוע שבו לבנון הולכת לקראת השמדה. לא תהיה אותה לבנון כמו שהם מכירים. אני לא הולך להתעסק בצייד קטיושות של חיזבאללה. את המחיר לתוקפנות מאדמת לבנון תשלם מדינת לבנון.
סליחה, השר קיש, אתה השתמשת במילה, ביקשת שאני לא אקטע אותך. תושמד. השמדה יש לה במינוח העברי, אתה יודע, לשר הביטחון אמר תחזור לימי האבן.
אתה יודע מה? אני מתקן את דבריי. לא תושמד. לבנון כמו שאנחנו מכירים אותה לא תהיה קיימת. לבנון תשלם את המחיר הכבד בגלל חיזבאללה. ואני מתקן את דבריי, לא תושמד, אבל אני מדייק.
Can you unpack that and the interesting word choice there?
This is the thing about what Israeli politicians say to the American public and what they say to Israelis themselves. Netanyahu put out yesterday a message to Lebanon, which was in English, which a lot of Lebanese people speak English, but the people inside of Lebanon, broadly speaking, do not. And the idea is that, we are not at war with you, Lebanese people, we're at war with Hezbollah. But when Israelis talk amongst themselves, there is an acknowledgement that the Lebanese people, not acknowledgement, there is an assertion that the Lebanese people and Hezbollah are one. They support the other. The Lebanese people are in league with Hezbollah, and they are an enemy to Israel. They are only valuable insofar as they can be like the phalangists back in the Civil War. They can back Israel to a hilt in killing Palestinians. The thing about Lebanon not existing, there was something that the Minister for Diaspora Affairs, who was a separate person, tweeted yesterday morning as well, I believe, talking explicitly not just about depopulation of southern Lebanon, but about Lebanon not being a sovereign state because of the prevalence of militias within its borders. He also said this about Syria and Iraq. The idea being that Israel is the only arbiter of sovereignty. It is the only arbiter of who has the right to exist. Do I think that Israel is gunning for territory in Syria and Iraq again? No. Do I believe it signals something about what their attitude is toward Arab sovereignty in general? Yes. As far as Lebanon exists outside of Israel's sphere of influence, they can't tolerate that. Everything has to be brought into that sphere of influence one way or another. It doesn't have to be territory. It can just be a government that is overzealously friendly to them. That's the kind of thing that they desire. When that isn't available to them, when the new Middle East that they wanted to create back during the Abraham Accords, that was something that was great for them. They want that to continue. They want that to expand. And the longer that is taken away from them, the more that they are disgusted, the more that they are angered, the more that they desire to take everything by force. And America has no interest in interfering with this matter whatsoever.
And you also had an article at The Nation about the Western media's betrayal of Palestinian journalists. Can you share some of your observations?
Throughout this, there has been a lack of want from Western journalists to acknowledge Arab journalists, particularly Palestinian journalists, as equals with them, as people that are deserving of their respect. When it comes to journalists who are imprisoned, for example, in Russia, they can start countdowns, they can start campaigns, they want to do everything to get them out. But when it comes to something thorny, like Israel, something that a lot of Western journalists go to support or to build the groundwork for support for, that's something that they can't deal with. So literally over 160 Palestinian journalists are killed, targeted for murder. Their journalism is explicitly voiced as a reason why they are being killed by the IDF. But American journalists are too terrified to rock the boat on that. to really dredge up like a significant opposition to this campaign of murder. And I thought it was absolutely disgusting, and it still continues. Um, keeps going, and now that there are journalists who are being killed in Lebanon, like one who was working for Al Mayadeen just yesterday, I'm sure that will continue into Lebanon as well as this unfolds.
You had this really fascinating quote in your piece on Palestinian journalists. I think it was from Christian Amanpour, who said journalists are not on the ground in Gaza, and of course, she had to clarify that she meant independent Western journalists, because there are journalists on the ground in Gaza. They're just often Palestinian, and they are killed.
When a lot of Western journalists come to an Arab country or Middle Eastern country, or most countries, but in particular, this term is used in the Middle East, they want a fixer. They want somebody who can get them, sources, secret sources, get them close to the story. And oftentimes these are local Arab journalists who now are subordinate to Western journalists who have the platform, they have all the much more influence, they have the trust of a Western audience. But what it leads to is that you have Western journalists basically forgetting that these are people, or forgetting to mention at least that these are people. So even though there are literally hundreds of brilliant journalists, eloquent journalists, people who are doing necessary work and bringing it straight to people from where they are basically rendered insects. Um, the idea being that if my CNN camera cannot physically go there, then it's an information black hole. It's not worthy of discussion. And it leads to situations that I also mentioned in the piece where Calissa Ward can go to Rafah and say, "We're bringing you an exclusive look
Right.
inside Rafah," as if nobody had been showing images of Rafah before, and only Clarissa, once she got in there to one specific hospital in Rafah, was this whole thing illuminated. Um, it's condescending, is what it is.